work. You have to be anyone going next, you have to be really close. Which is actually what I'm hoping to do tonight. That was not a pre-written joke, that's just the truth. So should I really open up to you?
Yes.
Like how much?
All of it.
What? Are you gonna open up to me?
Yeah!
Oh my god! Are we gonna finally fucking connect? Jeez. Can you believe this world and how often people don't do that? So who here thinks about their internal world like all day, every day? Like, yes, like you're not just experiencing things, you're like experiencing yourself, experiencing things, and you're thinking about things and you're like, why am I thinking about things like that? This is me like all the time. And I think people often don't share that. Like your friend will tell you like, here's what I think about something, but I'm like, I want to know why you think that and like what you were thinking when you thought that. Like I want the full story. So that's what this is about tonight. It can be really complex and profound and lonely, but also hilarious. And so I want to tell you guys about all these like little moments and like how that shows up inside of me and then also in the world. So, has anyone heard this quote? That you don't grow in your comfort zone? Have you heard this?
Yeah.
Does this make any fucking sense to you? Like when I first heard this, I was like, wait a second, some people have a comfort zone? Like, I just imagine, like, is your brain on a lazy boy? Like having a snack and a beer, and there's just like a harem of hormones giving you oral sex, of like cuddling, and like the dopamine's going like, yes, yes, yes. The adrenaline is there, and you're like, there's a big sign that says Cerebral Lounge in Comic Sans. Like, does anybody have an internal world like that? I actually want to know. Is anyone just comfortable all the time?
No.
I actually thought Keith might be comfortable all the time. But I was like, I think if my people are at Brew, there's not going to be a lot of hand raises here. My brain is more like, I'm in the desert and I'm wearing cleats, and all of a sudden I'm like, where's my left cleat? And why am I wearing cleats in the desert? You know, metaphorically, this is like my inner critic is just like always like, you can do better. Let's get more productive, but also let's get really good at resting. It's a lot of contrasting things I need to be doing all the time. So I realized I don't think I have a comfort zone because I'm never comfortable, and I think that's why I'm always growing. I'm not going to make a weight gain joke there, but it would be appropriate. But I decided, you know, we should not be self-deprecating, but it's just true. It's another topic people don't talk about a lot. It's so taboo. But I talk about it. So, do you ever realize that you're not self-conscious enough? Have you ever realized, like, with all the anxiety and all the things you've thought about, you're like, oh shit, there's all this stuff that I also should have thought of. I was preparing for a therapy session last week, no surprise, that I'm in therapy and that I was preparing for it, right? At this point, you know me. So I was like, like, which topic should I focus on today? And I was like, oh, I think I'll just choose, like, the same topic we've been working on for the last month. And so I was like, oh my god, my therapist is gonna be like, again? You know, so I was like, oh, I'll just come into the session and make a joke, like, oh, hey, guess what we want to talk about this time? And then I realized I can't do that. Because there are so many topics we've talked about hundreds of times. Like, she's had an ocean of choices. She'll never be able to guess what I want to talk about today. By the way, one time when I shared something with her, her response to me was, the external reality is a constant life and death extravaganza. So this is like my perfect cheerleader in life, this woman. I love her. I learned a trick recently for how to raise your vibe from a Qigong teacher. I think this is going to continue with like, oh yeah, no surprise, no surprise. So if you need to change your energy, do it like ordering a pizza. This is like a venerated veteran of Qigong. So you just like tell her what you want. So if you're like, I don't want anchovies, then don't make a joke about anchovies. So I guess I should delete that joke. So you don't call it into your energetic pizza. I was actually focused on my energetic pizza today, and I'm not going to read you what I wrote, but I was like, what do I want to focus on? Like, I just was sitting over here breathing, being like, I'm going to take deep breaths into my root chakra, connect with my feminine grace. I go through all of this shit all the time. And I think it works. I was like, I'm going to only half cue that and see how that goes. That was perfect. Thank you guys. So I'm pretty new. This is like my 4th time doing an open mic with comedy. But I actually like live my life as an open mic. Like I say like the weirdest shit to strangers at all times. I actually write down. Thank you. It's true. And I actually like write down moments that like I think by myself, and I'm like, oh my god, I really want to laugh with somebody about that later. And that's become like this comedy document. And I've had to be like categorizing it so I can find stuff that I actually want to say on stage. And one of these categories are burners. Okay, one of them is called reality/perception. Like, what is in that? Don't you want to know what's in that section? I do. One of them is called life's little challenges. One of them, so then there's interaction with strangers. That's the connection here. And then there's a whole section about things that I didn't say to strangers, but I'm laughing about by myself until a certain set time, like tonight. And that section is called Rona Out in the World, Laughing Alone, which happens all the time. Like public bathrooms, like wherever I just happen to be. So, there's one section called Impressions. I must have written this like months ago, I forgot I have it, and there's only one bullet point. And it says, blankets on your bed that got messed up overnight. So it's like, I've never done that before. But that's how I imagine it. I had that problem in February. So going back to strangers, I notice, does anyone say I'm kidding a lot? I don't think a lot of people tend to have to say that out loud. And the thing about comedy is the person should know that you're kidding. And I find that people often don't know. And I think with strangers, it's like, are people just not used to someone trying to make them laugh? Am I too deadpan and nobody understood? So I decided to do stand-up because it's like, then I have like a greater opportunity to succeed and fail with a much larger crowd. Be like, that joke was funny, let me try it again with more people. I went to a meditation center recently, and it was my first time there, so the reception was like, have you ever meditated before? Do you know what to do? I'm like, oh yeah, isn't that where you yell and run in circles? And she kind of paused, and I like ran in. I was like, I know what to do, leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
What else do I say to people? Okay, so, everybody, did anyone brush their teeth today?
Yes.
Some people, everyone like looks pretty dressed. Some people brush their hair. How do people do this? Like sometimes, like some days, isn't it just hard to function? Right? Like, I find myself on the phone with my sister and I was like, for my next trick, I'm gonna put on sunscreen while pooping. And this is like a huge accomplishment. And I realized like sometimes life is like a magic trick. Like from the outside, you can't tell that it took years of technique work for somebody to be able to create the illusion, or reality, I guess perception/reality, maybe I should put that in this joke, in that category, that like everything is fine and normal and everything is easy. But like people struggle with this, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? And it's just like we all keep that inside. I hate that. Let's tell each other this. It's 6:25. I think that means it's time. So I'm going to end with one sentence, just as you're getting up. Feel free to get up, but not one. You're supposed to be. So why am I like this? Okay, I'm not going to answer that. But thank you for laughing with me or pretending to. Whether you laughed or not, I hope that you can enjoy more comedy in your own minds and your own lives more often. Just like be light with it, have fun, write it down. Tell a stranger, they won't laugh, but you might. So I love chatting with people who relate to what I say, so feel free to come and talk to me. I'll follow on Shay and say, hey, I'm single. Thank you guys.